to one and all. So in this video, we want to speak regarding what is demand forecasting, factors affecting demand forecasting, importance of demand forecasting, and various methods which will affect the micro and macro elements of the economics. So first we is to consider that what is demand forecasting. So in every business, the demand plays an important role. At the same way, the demand forecasting is a crucial factor of an every business regarding of its maybe the size and the structure. Maybe we can see a small organization or maybe the big organization. Whatever the organization, but the demand forecasting is very much important for the managers or the business owners, whatever maybe the people at whatever the positions, maybe higher positions, middle position, or at the lower position. Why? Because the demand forecasting it is an influencing decision for each and every business. So first we'll see what is demand forecasting. So as we know what is forecasting, before going for the demand, we have seen already in the last videos what is the demand. So what a consumer willing to purchase a product at a price. So willingness of the consumer to purchase a product, we'll call it as a demand. Then what is forecasting? That is future prediction. Forecasting means it's in a future prediction. As we know, the regularly we used to see in the news and all other that weather forecasting. So what is weather forecasting? Just simply they used to identify that what is the state of weather in the external environment. Maybe it is getting rain or it is too hot, and what the precautions the people should be taken if it is rain, hot, or whatever the conditions. So they forecast before itself and intimate to the public. Means the future analyzing what happens in the next moment or the next thing. We'll call it as forecasting. So demand forecasting means what is the future demand in the market has to be analyzed by the business people, business decision maker. Why it is required? Why? Because as when a producer want to supply the goods to the market, he must and should know that how much goods he should supply. So when he want to know how many amount or the quantity of the goods to be supplied, he should identify that how many consumers are there to purchase my product. So he has to forecast, yes, 10 people are there, 20 or 100. So these many people are there ready to purchase my product. Then he'll go for to increase the production, decrease the production, or to start any sort of production. Means when he want to take the production decisions, 100% the producer will be released upon the demand forecasting. So these the managers want to take the important decisions relating to the production, what amount to be produced. So when we have comes to the decision of how much goods to be produced, then we has to decide that what is the amount of inventory to be purchased. Means when I want to purchase 1,000 ton of goods, then I has to order what amount of inventory. Means like raw materials, maybe the amount of the labor, or maybe other accessories which are required to produce the goods and services. Means based upon the production unit, the inventory will be depends. So based upon this production capacity or what we forecasted, that based upon the demand for the market, the producer want to fix the price of the goods. As we have seen that demand and supply. So demand and supply, where we got equilibrium when it is certain price, what quantity the amount we are supplying to the market. So at that exact point, we got an equilibrium in the market, which is called as an exact quantity to be supplied and exact demand from the market. So that to be anticipated, means that to be forecasted. So when I want to fix any sort of the prices, I should know what is an equilibrium position of the market relating to my product. And at the same way, other strategic decisions. So it's also related to the different types of top level and middle level decisions relating to the production activities. So based upon the demand forecasting only, means when we are assuming the future, maybe this term or this amount of the goods that the consumer willing to buy tomorrow, then today itself I am able to supply the goods into the market. So in order to take these type of strategical decisions relating to the production, inventory, pricing, demand forecasting is very much important. Why? Because it is a driving force for entire operations. Why? Because the important thing in the organization or whatever we want to take or starting in a management is planning. So future ahead or future thinking. So this future thinking relating to the production or the supply of the goods, this total planning process starts until we get an information from forecasting team or the forecasting people. Once we get information, yes, tomorrow there is a lot of demand due to the festival season. There is a lot of demand for these type of goods. Then today itself we are ready to produce the goods. By tomorrow morning we want to supply the goods into the market in order to gather the more amount of sales and get more profit. So the total planning process will be depends upon the demand forecasting. And at the same way, it doesn't depend that demand forecasting depends upon one or two factors. 100% forecasting is not at all being possible. It's a very complex process where some of the hurdles will be there. Sometimes overnight changes will also be taken places. So it is not an easy process in order to forecast the demand of any product. So it is having a complex steps and the progressions in order to forecast. Then we'll see that what is this demand forecasting. So when you want to estimate the demand of any product or the services in the future, so we want to decide relating to the, as we have seen that the production, pricing, inventory and all the things. So when with the demand forecasting, the companies will anticipate the demand, means adjusting their planning process. As we have seen that it's a planning is the first step of any production or any organizational process. When I want to go for the first step, I should anticipate what the consumer required in the market. That requirement or my plan will be based upon the forecasting data provided by the external people from the market. So here, based upon that forecasting plan, I will adjust already the pre-planned. Already I have some planning to produce the goods and services. Based upon the information we got from the external, we want to adjust the pre-plan. And along with that, for in order to identify the most reliable forecasting method is that always the business organizations depends upon the historical sales data to be used in order to predict the demand in the future. Means historical sales based upon the past trends, historical. So last year, how many goods are sold in this particular period of time? Maybe at what price, how many goods that market is demanding. So by analyzing last year data or the before last year data, that is historical sales data, means already completed. So based upon that sales, we are able to predict. So next month, okay, last year festival season, so the vegetables was demanded in this manner. Then next festival season comes, then I'm ready with that as last year has been happened like this. This year also I'll expect or predict the same type of demand will come to that goods. So in this way, here the demand forecasting maximum depends or the many people depends upon the historical sales data in order to predict the future demand. So sometimes along with this prediction of the demand, we have to take into the considerations like weather pattern, economic indicators and also consumer service. So here the demand forecasting not only based upon the historical data, what is the economical trends going upon the country or the state, what type of weather is there, and consumer service, that is taste and the fashions of the consumer will be influences the demand and supply of the goods. So here we should identify this consumer taste and preference through surveys, conducting some sort of expert opinion survey methods or taking the information from the consumers. So this is also one of the factors where the companies will analyze in case of Analyzing the demand forecasting. And here we refers what is the process, that is the demand forecasting refers process of predicting the quantity of the goods and services that will be demanded by the consumer at a future point of time. So we have seen that what is demand forecasting, why it is required, what is the basic. But what is the process means, the predicting the quantity of goods and services means how much goods and services that a market required or the total consumers in the market want to purchase at a particular point of time. That is called as demand forecasting. So more specifically, the method of demand forecasting entitles by using the predictive analysis in order to estimate the consumer demand. What is prediction? It is future thinking. Predicting tomorrow this may happen. I'll predict. Maybe the weather it is so cloudy. I'll predict that within a 1 hour it is to be rain. Means predicting means estimating. So maximum the estimating the consumer demand will be based upon the prediction, based upon the consumers movement, consumer survey methods. We will predict. So maximum we can identify forecasting will be on the predicting sense. And when you want to predict this type of sense, we should consider the key economic factors in the market. Means what are the economic indicators affecting in a product. So based upon that economic indicator, we go for the predicting analysis. And another important tool in optimizing the business is profitability through efficient supply management. So here the demand forecasting, especially maybe we utilized in case of predicting sense, we has to optimize. And why we want to go for this forecasting or predicting? Our main motive is to supply more goods at a higher price. The requirement is increasing the profits, means profitability. How the business will optimizes to get the profitability through, means how we are able to send the goods through good or efficient supply chain management, means immediate supply. So how the supply is forced or sent to the market on an accurate time. When demand existed today, by night itself you are ready, our goods are ready to available to the consumer. So if my goods are not available, if I don't have any good supply chain management, then automatically what happens, the competitors will be there and who will attack the market and gains the profit. So when we want to get more profitability, our distribution network or the supply chain management must be very much efficient. Next, we'll see that what are the essential things or why demand forecasting is crucial in our managerial economics. How these demand forecasting will help us to take the decision. So as we know, these economics or the managerial economics mainly a decision making economics for every business. So how this demand is essential for these business people to take the decisions. So these demand forecasting tells what a customer's taste, preference or willingness to purchase a product, at what price a customer taste or prefer to purchase at what quantity of the goods. And this information helps for the companies in case of different managerial decisions. So by anticipating the future trends in the market, there is a lot of impact, means this forecasting of the consumer demand or willingness to pay and its effect, the information how it affects in the price and the production of the goods and services will have a lot of impact upon the business. So we'll see that how these impact could be analyzed or useful for taking some sort of important or crucial decisions in the business, where we can see like the important thing required in the business based upon the demand forecasting is, first one is like it will, the planning will be improved, and next helps the manage the inventory, next helps in the rectifying of errors and informs long-term business planning and helps the business to stay ahead of the competitors. So these are the some of the points which we'll discuss to find out what is an effect of the demand forecasting upon a business. So here we comes within a first considerable factors like improves planning. So the demand forecasting will helps. The primary objective of forecasting is to improve the planning. As we have seen, the demand forecasting anticipates the changes in the planning process. Already we planned one thing, but a market demand forecast is another thing we can. Then automatically we adjust our plan according to the market analysis. So here our planning method or the mechanism will be improved by taking the future demand, and business will take a better production, inventory and pricing decisions. Means the policies. By understanding this demand forecasting or what a individual want. Maybe I'm supplying the products or goods. The quality is good, no problem. But the quantity what I'm supplying is very, very less. But there is a lot of demand, and our demand was providing income to our competitors. Then we should identify that to increase the supply. So our planning process should be changed by increasing more our production of more amount of goods and services. So in this way, that is improves the thinking attitude, planning mechanism way will be improved with the help of the demand forecasting. So these improved planning will realizes the organization to get the primary or the motive of the organization, that is increasing profits. Once our planning is perfection and demand forecasting is in a perfect manner, then in case of production, inventory, pricing decision, we can save the or decrease the total cost of the production with a good planning. Once we'll get a good planning, when we have a perfect estimation of marketing demand. So here the demand forecasting will improve the planning process of every business. And the next one comes as like how this demand forecasting will helps to manage the inventory. As we know, this demand forecasting takes an important in case of production, inventory, pricing decisions. Yes. So here we have to manage the inventory. Once when I want to produce the goods, the assembling all the requirements, that is raw materials, labor, machinery, direct and indirect overheads, what is required to production, assembling of all these inputs is very much important. When these are arranged in on time and the production goes without any fluctuation on time, then the goods were sent into the market in an accurate time. If anything in this process was failed, that is relates to the delay in the supply of the goods in the market, where we give scope for the competitors. So that's why we manage proper inventory levels, means raw materials must and should be maintained properly, or more, that is safety stock methods. Maybe if I want 1 lakh inventory, every organization, when there is a lot of fluctuation in the market's demand, we should go for increasing our safety stocks. Required 1 lakh raw material, when I can keep 1,20,000 or 30,000 of the raw materials. So in this way, the business can increase the production, meets the customer demand, if we are perfectly ready with our production policy, where inventory must and should be in a safety mode. So with these, we can decrease the excess production cost and avoid unnecessary expenses. For example, if inventory is not there, the market is demanding more amount of the goods, then I'll purchase the inventory at a higher price, then my profit will be decreases. But with the proper planning of inventory, when we have the proper planning of inventory, when we have already readied within a safety stock or the buffer stock of the raw material, then we does not incur more amount of the cost, and the total cost of the production will be decreases. So in this manner, if we are ready with our buffer inventory stock, we can save the money and the total cost will also be decreases, where we can make the consumer giving a quality goods with a lower price, and the management will also having a good profits by production category. So this is another crucial thing where the management has to be there. And the next one, it will help us to rectify the errors. So these demand forecasting will help the business to avoid making inaccurate assumptions about the demand. Means business while planning once or twice. Already we have discussed that demand forecasting will reveals the historical data, sales data. So based upon the historical sales, this time or this year I want to plan what type or amount of the goods I want to send into the market. So here the historical data tells us what we have done in the last academic year or the last production policy. If there is any wrongs or inaccurate assumptions where we failed in the market, which makes the organization to get losses or get a lower profits, then now in this next time when I'm forecasting the demand in the next academic year or the next production, then I want to rectify the mistakes what I done in the past. So this has been helpful for us in order to avoid the mistakes and decrease the cost, or to avoid increasing the cost structure and the negative impact what we have gathered the last time in case of our goods and services supply or the demand could be removed by this year. Means what are the mistakes we done in the last time, with the help of historical sales analysis we are able to avoid or remove that one, and we can avoid making the errors, that is costly errors, and which will use a negative impact upon the organization. And the next, these demand or the business people will think about informing the long-term business planning. So not only the demanding forecast help the business to avoid the mistakes or the errors what we have learned, so it also provides us about long-term business planning. Means based upon the state of demand for a product in the market, we want to plan not only at the short term for today or tomorrow or for a amount of 6 months, what a product is required in the long term. So accurate forecasting help the business people to make more informed decisions about their growth strategies relating to the long-term decisions or the long-term growth strategies. This in turn help the business to achieve their long-term goals and objectives. So why? Because every organization doesn't want to satisfy for 1 month or 2 months or the short-term goals. So we has to based upon the long-term analyzation such that we want to live more time in the market. Means our products will lasting over a period of time. So for that we want to achieve the long-term objectives of an organization, which we can fulfill within a good or the perfect demand forecasting. And these demand forecasting also help business us to stay ahead of the competitor. Means we'll see the total external, that is dynamic environment is there. Minute to minute, second to second changes will be taken place in the market. Who comes into the market we don't know. The competitors with sophisticated technology and availability of wide capital resources. So many people with an innovative ideas, innovative things, many people are ready to start the businesses, as entrepreneurship is having a lot of scope in the external market. So there are a lot of competitors will be there. Once when we have a perfect forecasting mechanism and we are in a achieving of our long-term goals and rectifying our mistakes, then that organization will stood ahead, or it will be there at a total heights rather than the other competitor. So here, once our product is good, accurate, time, quality is perfect, and the price is also operate, then customer relies upon our product. So they want to opt our product rather than the competitors. So here the companies easily anticipates the change in the demand by adjusting their plans according to the demand forecasting. So these are the some of the points where we can say significant or the crucial why this demand forecasting is important in the business people. Now we'll see what is the importance of the demand forecasting. As we have seen, it is very much important in case of producing the desired output to identify what supply is required in the market when I want to produce the quantity, that is output, how many units. Then this demand forecasting is more required. And assessing the probable demand. So perfect demand, probably this may happen. Assessment process means the technique what we used in demand forecasting is very much important, which gives us a reliable data. And the next important one is it will help us based upon the historical sales data or maybe trends, maybe based upon the consumer taste preferences. We are able to identify with the demand forecasting, that is sales figures. How much I have sold in the last, then what is the scope to sell in the future. So the accurate sales figure we can identify with the help of this demand forecasting. So this demand forecasting helps to take an accurate planning process which coordinate with a better planning mechanism, or better planning will use as a controlling, means where we are doing mistakes. That mistakes or the errors will be rectified and provides us a good or a better controlling system. So these controlling system maybe in case of comes from the root level like controlling of the inventory and assessing manpower requirements, means not only the raw materials, human requirements and their perfect assessment should be done, and ensuring the stability of the production relating to the machineries, manpower, raw materials, hours of production, stability. So these based upon the demand forecasting, fluctuation will not be takes within the factory level, and planning based upon that forecasting only. If our production is excess, then we can dump in the external market, like planning of importing some sort of raw materials, or based upon the government incentives, if our goods are more or excess we are able to provide, then we can export our goods. So this we can forecast will have with the help of import and export policies. So these are the some of the importance of demand forecasting. Yes, so along with that we should consider, along with the importance of forecasting, we has to consider some of the factors. Means only our side we are thinking that yes, based upon these things we are able to forecast perfectly. But external economy is dynamic. So some factors will be there which will definitely provides or gives the estimation of demand forecasting. So there are the some factors or the some identical things to be considered. So some of the identical things like price of the goods. So here one of the important factor is estimating the dependent price of the goods or the services. Means don't think that whatever the price I am giving in the market is superior. So many competitors are there. So what is in a product which is an alternative to me, and help to identify the dependent price of that goods. So these will help, or these price of the goods will help us to estimate the what is the pricing policies of our organization and our competitors. At the same way, fluctuations to be taken by the idea of change in the demand of a particular commodity. Means when I want to change or when I want to identify the demand of a particular commodity, I should consider not only my goods or my competitor goods and their pricing policies to be considered. And another factors which was affecting was the type of the goods. So based upon the commodity, that is kind of the commodities, it features usability and customer requirement. So it is a postponed goods or not, required necessity, or maybe it is of a comfort or luxury. Means based upon that type of the goods, we are able to forecast the demand. So existing goods easily estimated, required day-to-day requirement goods or the existing we can require by using the simple analysis like trends, competitive analysis, and also substitutes available. Whereas the demand for the new product means what already having the demand, we are able to compute or take the interference from the market analysis. But when it is a new product starting first, it is very difficult and we have to predict through mere estimations from the market or the competitors. And the next type of the factors which was affecting the demand forecasting is the competitors. So the level of the competition, what the supporting, it is in a supporting market supporting process for demand forecasting. So already in the first we have seen that what is a competition. If there is a competition, then we have to rely more. If there is no competition for the product, they need not want to supply more goods and no demand forecasting will be there. So based upon the level of the competition process, we have to go for the demand forecasting. So if it is a less competitive product, very easy, as the free markets we can identify through our competitors or maybe 4 or 5 members or there, with that we can estimate the demand. But if it is a tough competitive product having a lot of desirability features, changes in the futures, then automatically it is very tough for the organization to estimate the demand. And the next factor is technology. As we know, it is an important factor. The advanced technology is providing a drastical change in the market. So, based upon the technology, we have to change, or a lot of innovative products are coming into the market. So, it is very essential for each and every organization. We have to aware what is the present technology going on, what are the developments related to that my product, the technological developments was taking place has to be forecasted in order to identify the demand for any commodity. Technology plays an important role, as we know. So if the technology is advanced, new innovative products comes and my product will be outdated. So we should not be outdated. So we must and should be go along with the technology. And the next important one is like economic perspective. So being updated with economic changes, growth, which is very much necessary for the demand forecasting. So what is government going on? What are the economical trends, GDP, national income, and what are the like budgeting manners? So what is going on? So we should consider all economical indicators or the factors of external environment. So which will reflect upon my product or not. We should consider that factor related to my product or not. Then automatically budget comes. Mine is a steel factory. For example, I am in a steel, iron and steel production. If budget, the price of the raw material of the steel increases, there is a considerable effect upon my production. So we should identify what is economically budget, economical events, exports, imports, policies, what is going on. So that should be considered in order to have a perfect demand forecasting. So this assists an organization for preparation for future possibilities and analyzing the impact of economic demand upon the sales. Why? Because we have to find out. So based upon the economics or economical factors or the perspective only, there is a lot of impact upon my product. If one factor is related to my goods production, what I said like iron and steel industry, when the prices of raw material increases, automatically price to be increased. Then what is the customers ready to purchase that goods at that price, and what sort of supply I should give into the market. So these to be identified. So that's why the economics perspective is also another important thing which we has to be considered. So the above is an information relating to the what are the factors affecting to the demand forecasting. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.